If you have ongoing exposure to controlling people, it's a virtual certainty that you're going to experience blurry boundaries, which is why I've created the extensive online course called This Is Me, Establishing Boundaries with the Controllers in Your Life. There's a link below that will give you all of the details, and I hope that you would find it therapeutic. Are you someone that has opinions about a wide array of topics? And of course, the answer is, well, sure you do. We all have opinions on just about anything that we encounter in life, whether it's how to manage money wisely, or how you're supposed to deal with your own kids, or how other kids are supposed to behave in public. We have opinions about religion and politics, public policy, of course. We have opinions about sports teams. We have opinions about our entertainment options. We have opinions about how projects are supposed to unfold. Plenty of opinions. By the way, I have an opinion about dogs being on their blanket, and Gus doesn't seem to share my opinion, but that's another story. You know, when we talk about having opinions, we're talking about your own point of view, your own judgments about any particular topic. And sometimes your opinion is based on hard fact. Sometimes it's based on a hunch. Sometimes it's based on observing patterns that are there. Sometimes it's based on wishful thinking, but we all have opinions. Now, it's one thing to have opinions. It's an entirely different matter to be opinionated, and that's kind of a nuanced shift in the way that we use that word. When we talk about being opinionated, we can go dangerously close towards the narcissistic pattern of life. Opinionated individuals can be known as for their haughtiness as they hold on to what their opinions and preferences are. They can be very dogmatic in the way that they believe about things. They can be unbending and closed-minded. There can be a lack of regard or respect that they have toward other individuals, and it can lead to a great deal of insensitivity. Now, you take what I just mentioned there about being opinionated and you combine it with the narcissistic pattern of high control, low empathy, the need to be superior, and the ingredients of that nature, and you can see that narcissists can be strongly inclined towards stubborn and frankly unhelpful opinions. Many times their opinions are ill-informed, or even if they are reasonable, they can be managed in such a harsh and mean-spirited way that it's like, just go away. Now, there are multiple ways that this can play out. For example, I've known some individuals that their opinion is, if you're not of the same race or ethnicity or family lineage is what I would prefer, then I don't have anything to do with you. You're not my equal. Or there are some individuals who their opinion about how to deal with unruly children is to beat them into submission, threaten them with physical abuse and be very harsh and mean-spirited. And that's something that just causes the hair on my back to stand up. Or there are some individuals who have strong opinions about religion. And if you don't believe the same religiously as they do, then you're not in the club. You obviously don't have any notion about God or whatever the meaning of life is. And I'll have nothing to do with you. I don't want to learn anything from you. You can have some individuals who think, well, if you don't vote the same as me, if you don't have the same opinion about public policy, then I don't want to have anything to do with you. And you know that there are some individuals that when you're around them very long, there are certain topics you have to stay away from because they can be so stubbornly committed to their opinions that it just turns into a nightmare at times. And I know that many of you, when it comes holiday times or parties or social gatherings, it's like, I don't want to get into certain topics because of the way they become. Now, what's going on when that narcissistic person goes so deep into their own opinions that they become stubborn and haughty and condescending? Well, there's a lot there. Let's look into that. First and foremost, we can see that narcissists often will confuse knowledge and wisdom. They may think that they're operating with wisdom. Knowledge means you just have facts and principles and standards. And of course, with a narcissist, it's like, well, when it's me and my facts and standards and principles, then that settles it. Whereas wisdom implies that you can determine what's relevant in a relationship, and you can use discernment in the way that you manage the beliefs that you have. It's like, yeah, we have certain beliefs, but we have a relationship here that needs to be managed well. What would that include beyond just holding on to facts? In addition, narcissists lack emotional intelligence. And it shows in the way that they will cling so strongly and so stubbornly to their opinions. When we talk about emotional intelligence, we're talking about being in tune in a reasonable way with your own personal emotions and with the emotional needs of other individuals. And the person with strong emotional intelligence is guided by curiosity or empathy or regard towards another individual. And narcissists, by definition, don't care about being empathetic. And opinions take over, and it's like, well, you know what? The only thing that matters is what I think, and I don't care what you think. It doesn't come across my mind. In addition, one of the reasons that narcissists can stay stuck in a stubborn form of being opinionated is that they're unhinged by their own internal anger. They have an easy agitation. That life is a challenge to them, and they feel like they've got to pound people into submission, and they have to maintain dominance. And so they hold on stubbornly to their own self-preservation needs and to their own convictions at someone else's expense, and they can come across very aggressive in the way that they will hold on to their opinions because their anger is running away with them. Now, right on the tail end of that, they're also unhinged by their own feelings of being threatened. You know, when you come along and say, well, I don't share the same opinion as you, I have a different perspective, it's amazing, it's fascinating that they can't hear that. It's like, how dare you come against me? Why are you so threatened by that? And actually, it's a fear reaction. I fear people who are not the same as me because I don't know what to do with it. Adversity and difference is something that's scary to them because they have a basic psychological ineptitude. They don't know how to live with complexity, and they don't know how to manage solutions without that hard binary black and white thinking that's so common to that pattern. Now, in addition, these are individuals who don't really know how to or care to join at the heart level. You know, one of the things that happens when people come across in a super opinionated kind of way is it ruins any possibility of connection. It is possible, by the way, for people who have differing opinions or preferences or interpretations to set that aside long enough to say, but I want to know how to love you better. And I want to know how you and I can find some common ground. Let's see if we can make that a priority. The narcissist is like, no, that requires me to be tuned into your real needs and your real feelings and your backstory. And I don't know that I want to put out all that energy to me. I don't really care that much about your humanity to go into that space. And that's sad that your opinions and your sense of correctness can override your willingness to say, I'd really like to have a sense of mutual regard. Let's see how we can build that. They can't go there. And then, in addition, we can say that heavily opinionated, stubborn narcissist is invested in judgmental thinking. Who's right, who's wrong, who's better, who's worse. And they're constantly trying to figure out where they are on the pecking order. And it's all about being better than, being superior, and keeping you in the inadequate position. Now, I want you to understand that when a person goes into this stubbornly opinionated attitude that so many narcissists will go into, they tend to lose sight of one of the things that matters most, and that is the development of personal character. It's one thing to say, well, I know. But it's another thing to say, I want to make certain that my internal person is such that I'm at peace with me so that I can be in harmony with you. When we talk about developing internal character over stubborn opinions, we're talking about coming to terms with, objectively, with your own combination of your own strengths and weaknesses and being able to do the same with others. We're talking about being realistic about the ways that people are influenced by events and circumstances how you've been influenced and how others have. We call that your backstory. We're talking about, when we talk about developing character, we're talking about developing plans for personal stability and emotional stability, and trying to maintain a certain amount of decency in the way that we engage with one another. When we talk about character, we're talking about understanding your audience and having a sense of common ground, a sense of decency that you bring to that other individual. We're talking about knowing, what has influenced other individuals and their experiences. I recall so much. This one I learned about. Two men were discussing issues here in America about gun laws. And one guy was coming on real strong about how you can't restrict them. And the other guy finally just said, my son was killed in a random shooting. And that's why I have the opinions I have. And the first guy just went silent. But, at times it's like, can I know enough about other individuals' opinions and feelings so that I'm sensitive to where they're coming from, as opposed to just that gross pushing of my values on someone else. And it means that we're honest about flaws and imperfections. The narcissists, they're so invested on holding on to their superior supposed opinions that they think that they're totally in control when they do so, when in fact they're just controlled by their own impulses. My thinking is, well, I'd rather be controlled by DRC, dignity, respect, and civility. That's what we stand for here on Team Healthy. And the narcissists, when they hear about that, it's like, my opinion is that doesn't really matter that much. And then my reaction to that is, we sure do think differently, don't we? Now, I'm hoping that videos such as this can give you some good awareness of what you might be dealing with, and I hope that it challenges you to examine yourself along the way as well, as opposed to just pointing the finger outward. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, please do so. We'll keep more videos coming in your direction. I appreciate you allowing me to be on the path with you. Now, many times when you're dealing with something like this, it would be helpful for you to get some therapy. And I know that many of you have already done so, and you're in the process right now. We have a link below the video that takes you to our sponsor, BetterHelp.com. And it's a whole team of licensed professional therapists. You go through their link, you answer a few questions, and then you get to select a therapist that would allow you to, or that would help you work through this. And it'd be so helpful for you to break this down and get an understanding of that other person, about yourself, and all the patterns that are associated. Get the help that you need, please. In addition to that, in my retirement from my own therapy practice, I put together courses, and each course has at least 25 teaching videos. Each video has handouts and guided questions. We have anger games. We have This Is Me about boundaries, Free to Be, finding yourself despite those opinionated controllers. And we have Ready, Set, Connect about making healthy connections. On my website, we also have access to my webinars, which are 90-minute presentations, which have proven to be quite popular. In addition to that, we have my articles, my podcasts, my books, so lots of resources. It's fine and dandy to have your opinions. You just do. But then the question is, are you so opinionated, stubbornly so, that you wind up stepping all over someone else in the process and then ruining the potential for mutually regarding relationships? I hope that you can decide, well, if that person in front of me is going down that path, I don't want to be that I don't want to be determined by that. I want to have opinions, but I want to be known as loving even more so. And as you take that kind of mindset, I hope that it carries you deeper and deeper into your journey that's going to lead you towards internal peace.